कर सकते हैं सर?
बिल्कुल दीजिए।
करिए सर, करिए सर।
A very good morning to all. Myself Amit Kumar, Assistant Professor, CS Department, KNMEIT Modi Engineering College. I welcome respected President sir, Chief Mentor Dr. R.K. Khandal sir, Director KNMEIT Dr. Pravas Srivastava sir, Director KNMEIT Dr. Deepankar Sharma sir, our alumni and panelists, Mr. Kanhaiya Manuja, and all the participants. Today's webinar topic is cloud computing and its application. Let me brief about cloud computing. Cloud computing is a practice of using a network of remote servers hosted on internet to store, manage, and process data rather than a local server. Now, Ankit Kumar will present the webinar. I would like to invite Ankit Kumar to present the webinar.
Thank you, sir, for inviting me. Hello and welcome to this session. Thank you, sir, for inviting me. Hello and welcome to this session. I hope everyone is doing good. So today we're going to discuss about cloud computing. Before I start my session, I would thank Mr. Kanhaiya Manuja for joining us. Your time is really appreciated. Thank you, sir, for being with us. So let's discuss. Let me share the screen. All right. So that's the introduction to cloud computing. So we are going to see what is the role of cloud computing in today's software engineering. So today's session agenda is, we are going to divide our session in 3 parts. Part 1 is, what was before cloud computing? Part 2 is, what is currently we are doing with cloud computing? Or we can say that, how cloud computing is changing today's world. Third is, what is the future of cloud computing? I mean, what is the role of cloud computing is going to be in our future? Before we discuss about all those things, I need to throw some light on why actually we need to study cloud computing as a student or as a professional, as a developer, or maybe as a common man or common practitioner of computer science. So the major question lies in what actually cloud computing helps us to do, just to gain knowledge or just to gain idea about it. So if you can see here, learning cloud computing helps you to understand options available to backup and recover the user data. It will help you to increase your storage and compute capacity according to uses. That means if you want to use modern storage, modern compute technologies, then you need to understand, you need to gain understanding about how cloud computing is going to change the companies or the products that you are going to develop. Right? And the second most important point is as a student or as a programmer, as a fresher, because I'm kind of, most of the people are students here, and some of you guys are professionals, maybe teachers or developers. So you need to understand how cloud computing is going to change the way software is looking. That means you need to understand how cloud computing can help you to deploy your application at a scale so that it can provide you zero downtime and zero uptime for good application softwares. All right, with discussing this, we'll discuss what was before cloud computing. So I will take an example. Let's say our KNMEIT website, right? We created a website in 2005. In 2005, we didn't see a rise of cloud computing. So what we want is, we want to deploy that website to the server so that all people across the world can see our website, can log in, can register for the students for admission in the different branches. But how are we going to deploy it? Because since we don't have any cloud computing, KNMEIT will do. KNMEIT will buy a lot of server, that means physical hard drives, physical disk, physical compute storage, and it will set up a room where all these things are there. Second, it will hire some employees or some professionals will manage the traffic. Now, what does this managing the traffic will say? It says that how the rate of the traffic or how the rate of users are going to increase or decrease on the server. Based on increasing or decreasing the rate, KNMEIT may need to buy another application stack or maybe another servers to handle the traffic. Well, that's very dynamic and that's very costly. Why is that so? Because you need additional space to hold that server, to keep that server. We need additional employees to maintain that server, to repair the server in case of any failure. And well, with that all, it costs additional costs, which is not good for an organization. So what is the real problem here? So real problem is buying of that expensive software applications which we have to change after over time and time, because hardwares are always going to change in couple of years and maybe in 5 years. So how an organization is going to launch or deploy a website very efficiently and without putting economy of a scale into that? Well, the answer lies in the fact is cloud computing. So let's discuss how cloud computing is going to solve these issues. So now the major question lies in the fact that how cloud computing does all those things at once. So earlier we seen that to deploy an application, to deploy a website, we need to have a server. That is physical server. We need to buy it, we need to maintain it, we need to manage it. But now these all management, buying the servers, maintaining the servers, error recovery, everything is done by a specific service provider. Now what is this called? In cloud computing market, this is called as service providers like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Droplets. It's organized on DigitalOcean likewise. So what actually it happens? So what we do is put our all the data and compute on a remote servers instead of buying our own server. So let's say we have a website. What we'll do, we'll call, let's say, Amazon, and we'll ask Amazon, you host our website. We'll pay you on a need basis, right? Again, another most important advantage of cloud computing over buying those expensive servers is we have dynamic server capacity. That means to build a farmhouse, I want to build a skyscraper. So that's your choice because the infrastructure is there. The infrastructure is the land, right? So you can build your house based on your preferences. That is the infrastructure as a service. Similarly, in cloud computing, what does this say? That you will be given a hardware. What is that hardware? Hardware comprises the CPU, the hard disk, the memory, and all different stuffs that requires that will run your operating system on top of it. So what exactly you are going to do? You are going to install an operating system on the top of that hardware. Similarly, and you can install operating system on the top of hardware. You can do whatever you want based on the top of that hardware. Now, another important model and service model is platform as a service. So let's take the same example with the house example. So you move into a new city and you want to live you want to rent some house. So you go and look different houses you based on your preference. So rent one house. That house will be unfurnished. With that said, unfurnished means no beds will be there, no lights will be there. So you will decorate your interior based on your requirement. So you can do the interior painting as pink or green or whatever based on your performance, your preference. Similarly, the platform as a service, it will provide an operating system to you. It will provide an middleware to you. It will provide a runtime to you. I mean, all that basic needs to run an application on the top of it.
Ankit, please show your quick.
So I was talking about infrastructure as a service. So this is the infrastructure as a service. So as in infrastructure as a service, you will get networking, storage, servers, and virtualization. This is hardware stack. And we are going to install operating system on the top of that, and we can install other applications on the top of that. Similarly, with a platform as a service, which comes with installed operating system. Just like you buy a new laptop, you will get a Windows 10 operating system in that. So you are just buying a platform, right? And then you can install on that operating system based any application based on your choice. The third most important thing and the most common thing is software as a service. What you do actually there, you will be given everything, right? You will be given operating system, you will be given hardware, you will be given applications too, right? The most famous example is Gmail. So Gmail is a software as a service. So we are using service, which is software from a cloud provider, right? So that's the Gmail. And other deployment models, if you look at, there are public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and on-premises. So when I say public cloud, so public cloud is basically given to all the clients, right? All the public were using it. So this deployment model is perspective to the cloud service provider. So let's say we are using all Gmail. So our all Gmail accounts are with Google. Same security protocols are being applied to all of our Gmail accounts. That is a public cloud. When I say private cloud, we are using it specifically for our own need, right? If I pay Google extra money and I can rent their hardware to store something, and Google will need to apply another service protocol because I'm That's my private cloud. You can't access it. You can't store your own data on that same hardware stack, on the same storage stack, right? So that's a private cloud. I will manage this. I will maintain this because it's I am the IAM for that, identity and access management. But in public cloud, Google will manage our own cloud storage, like what is the security protocol, how we are going to manage different steps. When I say hybrid cloud, well, that's the name is self-explanatory. It says that combination of public cloud and private cloud. So some part is with the public cloud, some part is the hybrid of a private cloud. So what is the common example of this? Let's say you want to run an application, right? And you have some data where you are logging, you are asking user to log in, and your data is getting stored. So you will store that data in public cloud, and all the necessary informations like credit card details, banking details, or some security details will be stored in private cloud. So this is how you can leverage hybrid clouds. Now, what is on-premises? Well, this on-premises means your own local data centers, right? That is on-premises. So everything is going to be managed by you. No middleware, no service provider. You are going to manage everything. All right. With that said, let's discuss how actually cloud computing looks. So this is here. So as you can see, we have hardware, the most bottom layer stack. On this hardware, we have a hypervisor. Now, what is this hypervisor? So this hypervisor is responsible for virtualizing the operating systems, or virtualizing. It's responsible for virtualization. So we can install multiple operating systems on the same hardware. So as you can see, we have Ubuntu, we have Windows 10, we have Red Hat Linux on the same hardware. How this happens? Because hypervisor creates a virtual, or creates an illusion to each and every operating system that it uses the entire hardware, but it uses a shared hardware with all three other operating systems. So a user can install Ubuntu operating system, it can install a Windows 10 operating system, it can install a Linux operating system, which is from Red Hat. And we can install on the top, we can build our own application on the top of that operating system. So the same hardware is shared between different clients, right? So this is a virtualization effect. One virtualization, second and third, right? So this is how these things are happening. So let's discuss what is exactly infrastructure as a service. So we get only the layer number, we get only hardware and hypervisor as infrastructure as a service, right? And we install our preference, our most liked operating system like Ubuntu. So if I like Ubuntu, I will install Ubuntu on the top of it. And then we can build our own application and use cloud platform based on our own needs. So this is all about this infrastructure as a service and how cloud looks at its core. So few common service providers from the cloud computing markets are Microsoft Azure, AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, then Google Cloud Platform, then Adobe Cloud, then we have IBM Cloud. Also, we have DigitalOcean, which provides Droplets. Well, if you ask me which one is my favorite, so my favorite is Microsoft Azure, just because it is very cost effective as compared to Google Cloud and Amazon Web Services. Well, now let's look some hands-on, like how are we going to set up a virtual machine on AWS? All right. So this is the AWS console, as you can see here. So they provide a lot of services. So let's go just quickly move through it, right? So you can run all those services. So this is all their things which they provide when you pay them. So what are the applications? Business applications, compute applications. That means we are going to use their CPUs to run our own tasks. Containers is again a deployment thing. Then database, they provide database to, so as we can store data into it. Machine learning APIs, Internet of Things APIs, and then developer tools like Dockers and Kubernetes and all those stuff. Then mobile applications, and then storage and security, because we want our applications to be secured. So everything is being provided through a cloud service provider, right? So let's look how these things are happening. So as you can see, if I have already logged in here, so I want to rent an infrastructure as a service, and I want to install my own like operating system on that infrastructure, on that hardware. So as of now, there are a lot of operating systems that Amazon provides. So you can see here Amazon Linux, Red Hat, right? Ubuntu server, which is 18.04. So I'm using free tier, so I'm not going to pay for this because they have free tier extended for 12 months. Microsoft Windows Server. So there are a lot of servers or a lot of operating systems which we can install on the top of that hardware. If I select one of them, it will prompt me to what kind of hardware we want to use, like how many CPUs, how many cores of CPUs I want, what is the uh, GBs we want to use for the hard disk, what is the type of hard disk, whether it is SSD or it is normal hard disk. So they will ask all of these questions.
Ankit, please show PPT next PPT.
A very famous CEO of VMware said that cloud is all about how you do computing. It's not where you do computing. This says that whatever computing we are doing matters where we are doing it. It's not that we are if you are buying a Linux, if you are buying an AWS server, the cloud computing will change. If you're buying a Linux, if you're buying a Google platform, the cloud computing will change. No, it's about how do you do computing. So it's actually about segregating the client side from the server side. So that is all about. So we want to separate our client applications from the server applications, and we want all our server applications to run on a different hardware, and that hardware should be decoupled from the client applications. So this is all the CEO of VMware meant to say that. Let's see if this instance is running. All right, it's starting. Meanwhile, we can go to see what exactly is the future of cloud computing. So, well, the cloud computing future says that we want some increased capacity because we have limited capacity as of now. We don't have much capacity. So we want some service providers like Google, Amazon, or Microsoft to increase our cloud capacity so that we can leverage this capacity to store our credentials and different stuffs. Next, we have enhanced performance of internet. We have 4G. We want 5G to improve the performance of cloud computing. Right. So with 5G, a lot of things will come into picture, like IoT, like improved machine learning, improved computer vision, and different stuffs. Cloud computing and IoT will change the world in coming years, right? So since all our IoT applications are running on cloud, so we want fast internet so that our IoT devices perform like with real time. Next, we want modular software. That means we want our software to be decoupled, right? That means more the software is decoupled, more modules are present, so we can easily manage it and we can easily deploy based on our own preference which architecture we want to deploy. Security is the main important thing here because since we are running cloud with the help of internet, so it faces all kind of vulnerabilities. So we want secure connection with the cloud service provider. Now, the most important thing is economy of scale. As of now, the cloud service providers are charging huge money. So we want in future this money should be coming down so that normal companies and normal organizations can afford this cloud computing benefits and they can leverage it to deploy their applications in scalable applications. Another thing we want is hybrid solutions. That what do I mean by hybrid solutions? We want that okay, some part you can use our local data centers, you can use own cloud centers, we can merge these two things and we can build a better application to run the cloud computing. We want more service providers. As of now, there are 3-4 major players like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, DigitalOcean. We want some other companies to enter in this market and provide some other services so that it could be cheap and so that we can use it easily. So as you can see, the instance has started running. So this says that it is running. All the checks are being performed. These checks are status checks and it includes the security checks even. You can see here, this is my private IP address. So this is the IP address of US San Jose where we are connected to. So all the locations where AWS service providers are present, which is listed here. So as of now, we are connected to US East, Ohio. So all other regions are there. We have Mumbai also, which is Asia Pacific region, the only region. So this is the instance is running. As you can see here, it's in running state. This is the name of my instance ID, which is given by Amazon. The name of instance type is T2 Micro, which is the EC2 type. So if you can see here, this is my EC2 type, right? And all those operating systems which are present here, we can rent it and we can start using it. So I've rented this operating system, which is Ubuntu 18.04 SSD volume type. So it's coming with SSD, and then this is my instance. It's running, and these are all the locations we can use it. So as of now, I'm using US East, Ohio Central, and in India we have Mumbai, and other locations are also there in Europe. This is my public IP address. This is the name of my instance, which is Ankit Test, and this is the time when where I am enabled this instance to run. And these are all the monitoring things that Amazon provided us with this, so that we can check what is the status and all those things, monitoring and tags associated with it. So let's connect to that instance and try to see what actually we can do with this. All right. So I hope you are seeing my command prompt.
Yes.
Okay. I will need to pass this ID here, which is this thing. My instance name, since I'm running Ubuntu operating system, so I need to pass as Ubuntu @ what is my private IP, what is my public IP address. So this is my public IP address with the instance name, and this is my PEM file. This PEM file contains the RSA crypto key through which I can connect to AWS. It is very secured key. It is secured by SHA-1. So this is connecting to that. So you can see here, it asks me to connect. Okay. We'll wait for a couple of minutes while this is getting connected. So you can see Ubuntu 18.0.4. So this is the operating system we are using, and this is my local environment. This is my Amazon environment, which is getting connected as of now. This will take a couple of minutes. So I want to explain what is this SSH. This is SSH is Secure Shell Host Protocol. So with this protocol, we are connecting from my desktop environment to the Amazon's Amazon server. So what this protocol does? This protocol is a cryptographic network protocol, which helps you to connect through which helps you to connect from your local environment to the Amazon to any remote server. And this is basically useful for your command line interface or remote server applications. So as you can see here, I have entered to Amazon console, this is my private IP address, right? So what is this private IP address? The private IP address is only visible to me. You can't connect to this IP address because we are connecting through a VPN, and this VPN file is defined in this crypto key, which is given by Amazon when I run this instance. So I want to do something with this server, because since it is a new server, so let's see what is present with this. So if I run Python 3, because since we are running this on Amazon, so let's see this application installed or not. So you can see here, this application is installed in Python 3 Amazon service. So let's print something. So as you can see, it types little slower as compared to my local environment, which is because it is connected to SSH. That's it. It's running, and we can verify that our local environment is getting connected to the AWS environment. We can quit this. All right. If we want to install some of the applications on AWS local servers, so we can install it, because this is a brand new operating system, and we can install any application based on our need. So let's install some application. Let's say if Java is there or not. Let's check this out. Java, this version. So as you can see, it says that no Java is present here. So what we can do to install, we are going to copy this command. Since it's a Linux, so it will do apt repository and connect it, copy and paste, and this will try to install Java. So it is asking, do you want to install it? Yes. So yes, it will start connecting through this, and this Java application is getting on my AWS server which I rented from them. So while this is installing, I don't want to install and use it, but then I just wanted to show that we can install all of the applications what we want, and we can even run the Python or any web application on this, and we can start using this. So as you can see, it is almost installed. 96% is done. We are hoping to complete this. Meanwhile, this is installing. I want you to have a look on the other cloud service providers which are in the market. That Microsoft provides. All right, so it's installed. Let's see, is there Java or not? So now let's check whether Java is present or not. So now you can see Java 1.8 version is installed, and we can run our own Java application on Amazon provided operating system or Amazon provided hardware that we are renting from them. We not need to run on our own local environment, right? So this is the advantage of cloud computing. What we can do actually, we can use our own local environment to write the program, to build an application, and we can run that application on the Amazon server without worrying about the scalability, without worrying about the security, without worrying about the maintainability, without worrying about the error recovery and all different stuffs. So this is very cool thing. And if you want to log out from the Amazon server, because since we don't want to end up paying extra money for Amazon because we are not even using it to the full capacity, so we just go here and come here, connect to actions. This is the state. We want to stop it. So just when you click stop, it will prompt you to verify whether you want to stop it or not. We'll just say yes, stop it. And this will stop the server. So as you can see, it is stopping here. And now no more I will be able to connect to that instance because I have stopped the server remotely. So this is a small glimpse what we can do with the free AWS tier infrastructure as a service, and we can rent the service and build our application, deploy it, and use it without any worry. So let's see what AWS Azure provides. So similarly, Azure also provides different stuff. The reason behind liking me Azure is just because the cost effectiveness. So just the Azure, it also provides deploying of applications, create custom mobile experiences, data management, different stuffs. With this, we have also Google Cloud Services, we have Droplets, we have IBM Cloud, we have Adobe Cloud. So we can look through all of them and we can take decision which cloud application, which cloud provider is best suited for our own preference or for our own need. With this, let's move to GPT. So we were talking about the future things. Now, how cloud computing will help us in education, right? That is a major thing because right now in this state of pandemic, our classes are suspended. Our lot of important things that we were doing in daily life that is suspended. So cloud computing is coming to rescue. Since we can post all our important things on cloud and people can connect to cloud and retrieve their important information and they can start to get it. So that's the very easy way to starting with a lot of business ideas or a lot of innovation skills with cloud computing with minimal requirement because there are people who are already into it and manage other things and we just need to focus on the business logic. So that's all about the cloud computing. Thanking you, all of you, to coming us and joining with us. If you have any questions, please put them down.
Oh, thank you, Ankit. Now Ankit will give answer from chat window questions. Okay, and now I would like to invite IC to invite our alumni, Mr. Kanaya and to conclude the session. Ayushi ma'am.
Good morning. Am I audible? Good morning all and warm welcome to our alumnus, Mr. KNMEIT. Mr. KNMEIT is working with ThinkOn as Inside Sales Manager and in Canada, and he has done his BTech from Dr.KNMEIT, the Computer Science branch in 2009 and 13 batch. He was a bright student and now he is a bright alumnus, we can say. Welcome, Mr. Manuja. How are you?
Good, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So,
okay, perfect. How are you guys doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, we are good. So, proceeding things, thanks, Mr. for giving such an honor to contribute this informative computing in its application. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We have here Ayushi and I go to conclude it before handing over to esteemed LMNS. So today we have our speakers. He has given us demonstration on cloud computing, its service models, different models and deployment models, installation, IaaS, KAS, SS, and different infrastructure, exploration of cloud computing, future of cloud computing, its performance, enhanced performance, cloud service providers, and many things. So as we are running low on time, and I won't go into a lot of details, there are questions. If you have questions about that or anything else, please, you can ask that question. And now I would like to invite Mr. Manuja to share his practical and industry exposure on cloud computing. Mr. Manuja.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone, for having me today. It's definitely an honor. I know it's morning time for you guys. For me, it's a pretty late time. I think it's 2 a.m. right now. So if I go to sleep, just bear with me, but that's not going to happen. So before I get into any industry facts or what my experience has been with cloud industry, I just want to take a step back and tell you what I have done in the past. So as Ayushi ma'am mentioned, I've done computer science engineering from Dr.KNMEIT Institute. I moved to Canada in 2014. I came in September, and even when I was doing computer science engineering back then, I had always been interested more towards the business side. That's the reason when I came to Canada, I switched to marketing, sales, account management, because that's what one of the areas I was always interested in, even when I was doing engineering. So I'm not suggesting everyone should do that, but you should always find what you're interested in. So I was always more interested in the business side, just because my family, I come from a business family. That's the reason. And after doing that course, I did another course from George Brown College, which is also a college here in Canada. And after completing my education, I had 3 job opportunities. 2 job opportunities were with Government of Canada. One was in digital marketing field, another was in marijuana. So as you guys already know, marijuana got legalized in Canada. So I had an opportunity to work on that project. And the third opportunity was with a small company here in Canada, ThinkOn, which is a cloud computing company. To be honest, I had no idea what cloud was and if it makes sense or not, but I did a little bit of research and kind of settled down with cloud because I saw a lot of great insights, a lot of industry experts talking about cloud and how it is going to grow from where it was. So let's jump into some numbers. I'm pretty sure all of you guys know what cloud is, so I'm not going to go into that, but just from a numbers perspective, cloud industry globally is, in 2019, it was close to $200 billion. So that's a big, big number. And the projections for next 6 to 7 years, 2027, people are expecting this industry to be somewhere close to 800 billion. So there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of things going on in the industry, and every day there's something new coming up. And let me just focus on one fact here. If I talk about the cloud market in India, the market has grown substantially. So 2017, the market was $1.8 billion, and now it is close to $4 billion. So you can see that in just 2 years, the market has doubled, and there is still a lot of scope going on. And as Ankit mentioned in his presentation, that with the pandemic situation going on, there's a lot of people relying on cloud services. And the great example is Zoom, which we are currently using. And as you guys see, that Zoom shares are going up just because, people are relying on technology, and that's the only medium right now. So I will tell you a little bit more about my job, what I do, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about the industry trends, what's going on more in the North American area, as well as some trends where I see, Indian market catching up, and there are a few trends where India is ahead. So my job profile is inside sales manager, as Ayushi ma'am mentioned. And what I do is I have a team who sell cloud services to North American customers. So we serve all your Canada customers, East Canada, Western Canada, Central Canada. Then we have US market in Northeast US, Eastern US, And then we also have UK, London, where we recently expanded in 2019. And we have also done some expansion in Bahamas, which is Caribbean. So as you can see that we're in few different geographies, and right now we're talking to Australian market. So we are going to be soon in Australia, as well as Latin America, where we are going to expand in Brazil and few other countries. So my company, ThinkOn, we compete with Amazon and Azure, Google, all the cloud providers, big cloud providers we talked about today. Our company is not that big. It's a small company, but still it has created a big mark in the Canadian market especially. And the way it is growing, it has grown quite a lot in the past few years. So investors are really interested. And the way we sell services, it's not really fancy, as you guys already saw on Amazon, but it's very cost effective and it's transparent pricing, because a lot of times you will see in, from a customer perspective, they are a little bit hesitant moving to the cloud because they're not really sure if cloud is the right source for them or not. There are still people who like the on-premise structure just because they have much more control over it. But moving to cloud is now becoming natural, and for customers who are not on it, they are missing the boat. So the market is going there, and either today or tomorrow, customers are going to be there. So that being said, my company, we are infrastructure as a service. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the trends going on in infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service, as you guys already know what it is, it's a combination of storage, network, compute, which customers can buy from you, and they can either decide to buy it on a multi-tenant model, which is more like a public cloud, which Ankit mentioned, and then there's a private model where they can get rented servers, and those hardware servers are dedicated to them. So they really don't have to worry about the multi-tenancy, because in multi-tenancy there are multiple customers running on the same hardware, and in private cloud you have one hardware dedicated to one customer. That's the kind of difference, and that's the model where every customer or every user starts their journey from. And as you already saw, Ankit, when he was using the Amazon instance EC2, he deployed a server, and that's a compute model, or you can say that's a typical cloud model. Now I'm going to go a step ahead and talk a little bit further about what's going on in the infrastructure as a service area. There's a backup as a service market, which is a really big market in North American industry. And the reason why is people need protection. Now, I don't know if you guys are already aware of big backup vendors, such as one of the big backup vendors in SMB space. SMB is small to medium businesses, Veeam. Veeam has grown quite a bit in the market, and it was recently acquired by another financial investors who were kind of backing them up. And then there are other providers such as Commvault, Zerto, Rubrik, who are big in this market. Another one is Commvault, which we talked about. Commvault is more on the enterprise level, and then Rubrik have very special, use cases where they're more focused on shipping bricks and then using bricks as the medium. Next trend, which is going on in the infrastructure as a service or sub-infrastructure as a service, is DR as a service. DR as a service is disaster recovery as a service, basically, and this is more like disaster recovery preparedness. So suppose, you are running everything in your office. There's a fire, flood in the building, you lose everything. And as you guys already know, data is king today. So if you lose everything, it means your business shut down, you're losing money. So you need to have a disaster recovery plan. And the way I compare disaster recovery is you're buying an insurance policy. You don't want to use it. You know that, that's probably the worst case scenario, but you need to have something in place in case something goes wrong. So that is also one of the big trends in the North American market, especially, as well as the Indian market is catching up with that. Few other trends which Ankit already mentioned was platform as a service, where you're more focused on the platform or the application. You really don't have to worry about the operating system. So that is now one of the catching up trends with infrastructure as a service. Next one is container as a service. Container as a service is also picking up quite a bit, just because just because of the developer market, as well as a lot of industries now trying to catch up with the trend of cloud, and they want to save money. So container as a service is ease of deployment, where you can stop, start, and scale and manage containers on a really easy basis. The last one is multi-cloud or hybrid cloud, which is where you kind of have a mix of on-premise environment, you have a mix of public cloud, you have a mix of private cloud. That is also really important, and I see a lot of industry moving towards a hybrid cloud, as well as customers moving to a multi-cloud structure. What multi-cloud is, you have some instances running on your Amazon, you have some instances running on your Azure, you have some instances running on a third-party cloud, somewhere like, us, where, customers see that there are applications or databases where there's a lot of, interactions. As you know, that Microsoft and Amazon are really good at tracking those interactions, and they're going to bill you based on per interaction, whereas there are other cloud providers who are not going to bill you for that. So maybe for some applications, you can leverage those cloud providers. So it's really important to know which cloud provider suits the outcome or the applications, because if you do not know, you might be losing a lot of money. With that being said, that's the kind of insight I have for you guys. And being in the cloud industry, I have not been, for 10, 15 years. It's only been 4 years in the industry. I have learned a lot. I've seen quite a bit, especially in the North American market, US, Canada, as well as the Caribbean market, where we are growing. Cloud is going to be a big, big thing for the next 10 to 15 years. If you're a student and you're looking to explore a career and you're really interested into something interesting and want to build a great career, cloud computing might be the next big move. And that being said, thank you for your time, guys. I hope I was able to provide you some insight. But if you want to connect with me on a one-on-one basis, you can reach out to me on my LinkedIn or any other social medias. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just wanted to thank you. Thank you, Mr. Manuja. Thank you for answering so many questions by giving advices, your feedback and experience. That was so informative and educative. I like that advice. That's great. Wonderful, Ms. Manuja. It was fantastic presentation. And thank you, Speaker Ankit. Special thanks to you. Congratulations, you have done good. And everyone for attending, especially a special thanks to our respected Dr. Dipankar Sharma sir, Director, Dr.KNMEIT, Dr. Prabhat Srivastava sir, Director, KNGD-MEC, Dr. Manoj Agrawal, Director, Dr.KNMEC, all deputy directors, head of the departments, faculty member, our placement officer, Shalini ma'am is here, and everyone. Thank you everyone for attending. We are going to go ahead and end for this webinar. But as I said, do ask your questions on Kanhaiya's LinkedIn or any social site. And if you have any questions, please poke him and check out our other webinar that we have scheduled this month. Have a great day, and I hope to see you at another webinar soon. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.